We are told, constantly, that we live in a free society. But look around, breathe in the air, it feels heavy, doesn't it? It's with something. Not a biological agent, but a spiritual and civic one. Our society is infected. The pathogen isn't a virus. It's corruption, the rot that tells us the system is rigged, so why bother playing by the rules? It's hate, the easy addictive toxin that divides us into us and them, simplifying a complex world into a fight. And it's fear, the underlying fever that makes us crave that hate, that makes us accept the corruption as inevitable just to feel safe. We are living in an infected society. And just as with a physical plague, the question is not if we have been exposed, but how we learn to live. How do we build a normal, meaningful, and dignified life when the world around us seems to be sick? The answer is not to wait for the infection to pass. It won't just pass. The answer is to build immunity, to live in a way that is uninfected, even while surrounded by the sickness. Now, we will talk about the three pillars of that immunity: the discipline of discernment, the architecture of authentic community, and the psychology of the uncorrupted self. The first step to immunity is awareness. You cannot fight an enemy you refuse to see. The infection of corruption, hate, and fear spreads primarily through one vector: information. It enters our eyes and ears and works its way into our hearts and minds. To live a normal life, we must develop a new kind of hygiene: mental hygiene. The infection has recognizable symptoms: the sudden rush of adrenaline when you see a headline that confirms your worst fears about the other side, the numbing apathy that follows yet another story of political greed, the cynical chuckle when someone suggests that things could actually be better. These are not just moods. They are symptoms of the societal sickness taking root in you. Learn to recognize them in yourself, without judgment, but with clear eyes. You wouldn't drink from a poisoned well. Why do you drink from one online? The discipline of discernment means curating your information diet with the same care you would give to the food you feed your children. It means seeking out sources that prioritize context over outrage and truth over tribalism. It means turning off the 24-hour feed of manufactured conflict and reading a book, or a poem, or simply sitting in silence. You must starve the infection of your attention. The infection is insidious. It tells us that we are the clear-eyed ones, and they are the infected. But immunity requires radical honesty. Ask yourself, am I afraid? Am I angry? Is this information making me more compassionate or more contemptuous? Am I seeing a human being or a caricature? This internal questioning is your immune response. The infection wants you isolated. A fearful, hateful person alone with their screens is easily manipulated. Our immunity is collective. We must build shelters of sanity where the air is clean. You cannot fix the whole country, but you can tend to your street, your neighborhood, your block. This is your pod. These are the people you see face to face. Start there. Know your neighbor's name. Watch their kids play. Share a meal. When you have a genuine human connection with the person next door, it becomes much harder to dehumanize an entire group of people you've been told to hate. This is ground-level, viral resistance. Civic rituals in a time of cynicism. The infection tells us that nothing we do matters. We must prove it wrong through small, consistent acts. Attend a community board meeting, even if it's boring. Volunteer at a local library or food bank. Pick up trash in a park, not because you have to, but because you care for that small piece of the world. These are not grand gestures. They are rituals. They are the repeated actions that remind us and our neighbors that we are not just consumers or voters, but citizens. They are the acts that keep our small corner of the world functioning and sane. In a healthy society, disagreement is how we solve problems. In an infected one, it's how we start wars. We must relearn the lost art of talking to people we disagree with. It means listening to understand, not to rebut. It means finding the one thing you might agree on. It means saying, I see your point even if I don't agree with your conclusion. This doesn't mean compromising your values. It means refusing to let the infection of hate sever the human connection. Finally, we must tend to our own spirit. The goal is not just survive the sickness, but to remain whole. To live a life that feels like your own. The goal is not to fix the whole world. That path leads to burnout and despair. The goal is to live an uncorrupted life within a corrupted world. It is to be the person who, when faced with a choice between the easy, cynical path and the harder, principled one, chooses principle. Your life becomes the statement. What can you do that the infection cannot touch? The teacher who treats every child with respect, regardless of their background, is doing uncorrupted work. The artist who creates something of beauty, reminding us of our shared humanity, is doing uncorrupted work. The mechanic who fixes a car honestly, the nurse who offers comfort, the parent who raises a kind child, this is all uncorrupted work. Find the place where your skill meets your values, and do that work with your whole heart. It is your contribution to the antidote. In a society fueled by fear and hate, joy is a revolutionary act. Laughing with friends, watching a sunset, listening to music that moves you. These are not escapes from reality. They are affirmations of it. They are proof that the infection has not won. Joy reminds us why we are fighting to stay human. Do not postpone it. Do not feel guilty for it. Cultivate it. It is your personal vaccine against despair. So, how do we live a normal life in a society infected with corruption, hate, and fear? We stop waiting for the sickness to end, and we start building our immunity. We practice the discipline of discernment, guarding our minds against the toxins of easy outrage and cynical apathy. We build the architecture of authentic community, creating small, resilient shelters of human connection and civic care. And we cultivate the psychology of the uncorrupted self, finding purpose and joy in our own integrity, refusing to let the world's sickness define our spirit. The infection is powerful. It is in the air we breathe. But it is not all-powerful. It cannot force you to be corrupt. It cannot force you to hate. It cannot force you to live in fear. That choice is still yours. Choose to be well. Choose to be whole. Choose to live an uninfected life. Thank